Part 83. Urban Super Dude. Author, Eagle in the Desert. Chapter 821. At this moment, in the exclusive private room of the club, Wang Fuegui and Suemo were sitting on the sofa. The manager of the club walked in with more than 20 beautiful technicians with hot bodies, stood in a row and bent down to say hello to Wang Fuegui and Suemo, and then let the two choose. "Master, you know that I have a wife, so this time I will do the same as the previous times. I just want to give you a massage. You can choose as much as you like, don't consider me." Wang Fuegui smiled and said, "You can choose whichever technician you want." Quack, quack, Wang Fuegui, why are you so fake? What's wrong with having a wife? Just play as much as you want. Your wife won't know anyway. Suemo said in a preaching tone, "Men, it's human nature to act when the occasion arises. Which man who does great things would refuse to show affection because of his wife? Master, let's forget it." Wang Fuegui said seriously, "I only have my wife in my heart, and I can't do anything to regret her." Although Wang Fuegui looks quite wretched and talkative, he has never had in-depth communication with other women since establishing a relationship with Lu Shushan. These few times he offered to come to the club, he just wanted to please Suemo and use the club to climb up Sumo's big tree. You, if you don't listen to the old man, you will regret it sooner or later. Forget it, I don't care about you. If you don't choose, then I won't be polite." Suemo smiled, then raised his finger and pointed at the beautiful technician on the far left, and said, "She." "Master, you have such a good sense. This technician's figure is too exaggerated. He must have AG, ha ha ha," Wang Fuegui said with a smile, "but, master, why do you only want one? What I mean is, let her go and keep the rest." "I want them all," Suemo said excitedly. "Depend on. Want them all? Master, are your kidneys okay?" Wang Fuegui slandered, but on the surface he waved his hand and asked the chosen woman to leave. Immediately afterwards, the remaining 20 or so beautiful technicians all sat down and began to massage Suemo, which made Suemo very happy. "Master, the identity just now should be the best, she is still a young woman, why did you let her go?" Wang Fuegui said with a puzzled face. "It's so big, it's so scary. Also, what's good about young women? Only perverts like young women." Suemo hugged the two beautiful technicians and smiled softly, "I have long passed the age of liking young women. Now I like young ones. The younger they are, the more I like them, quack quack. Are all those who like young women perverts? Damn it. Master, you are the pervert, okay. I used to pretend to be upright, but my attitude changed faster than flipping through a book. Suddenly I was rushing to come to the club, and when I arrived at the club, I was quacking, what the hell is this, not a pervert?" Wang Fuegui even wondered if he, a cheap master, had two personalities, or something like that. "Master, you massage first. I'll go out and wait. I won't stay to observe." At this moment, Wang Fuegui smiled, stood up and was about to leave the supreme box. But at this moment, the door of the box was suddenly pushed open. The next moment, an unexpected figure suddenly appeared, standing at the door of the private room, looking at Wang Fuegui angrily. Wang Fuegui took a closer look and was immediately overjoyed. He smiled happily and said, "Wife, you." "Wife?" "Yes, this sudden person is Wang Fuegui's childhood sweetheart, Lu Shushan." "Shut up." At this moment, Lu Shushan was furious and said through gritted teeth, "Wang Fuegui, you are so brave. I didn't expect you to dare to come to the club." "Honey, you misunderstood, I didn't do anything, today." Wang Fuegui opened his mouth to explain, his eyes fell on Suemo, and said, "Master, she is my wife Lu Shushan. Please help me explain to her." I am accompanying you to the club today. I am just leading the way. I am not responsible for anything did not do. Evil traitor. The moment Lu Shushan appeared, Suemo stood up. Lu Shushan did not see Suemo hugging him from left to right. At this moment, Suemo walked up to Wang Fuegui and suddenly seemed to be a different person. He gritted his teeth and said with hatred, I have warned you a long time ago not to be addicted to clubs, not to be addicted to clubs, but you just didn't listen, and today you secretly sneak into the club. Humph, if I hadn't appeared in time, I'm afraid you would have started to enjoy the services of a group of technicians now, and the mud can't hold up the wall. Suemo glared at Wang Fuegui, then turned to Lu Shushan, pretending to be a role model, and said seriously, you must be Wang Fuegui's fiancé. Hey, I can't help you, I didn't discipline you only. Hey, seeing him like this, as a master, I feel very sad. Suemo then promised, but you don't have to be too sad. I will keep a close eye on him from now on. I believe he will change his ways. Master. Wang Fuegui was dumbfounded and looked at Suemo in astonishment. The master's reaction was something he never expected. A dog is such a dog. Shut up, I'm not your master. Don't call me master until you get rid of the bad habit of being addicted to clubs. I thought that I, the blood demon, was a wise man, with a breeze on my sleeves, upright, but who would have thought that in his later years, I would recognize bad people and accept a disciple like you. Suemo sighed again, covered his face and cried, oh, I am so heartbroken. Senior. Lu Shushan finally understood. Seeing the grief on Suemo's face, she comforted him, it's not your fault. It's all Wang Fuegui's fault. It's his own indiscretion and it has nothing to do with you. Having said that, but, hey, forget it, I'll just be alone for a while. Suemo looked extremely sad and left the supreme private room with his hands behind his back and a lonely expression. Master. Fuck. Wang Fuegui reacted and gritted his teeth and said, it's boring for you to do this. Master, come back. With that said, Wang Fuegui was going to chase Suemo and ask Suemo to come back and explain clearly. King. Rich. Expensive. However, Lu Shushan gritted her teeth, grabbed Wang Fuegui's ear, and said through gritted teeth, you are getting better and better. I have been to Jiangbei before, and I have already greeted all the conferences. I just heard that you are coming. 10 fingers are like jade, I still don't believe it, I thought the club manager recognized the wrong person, but I didn't expect it. Wang Fuegui, you really dare? No, 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 that's not the case. Wife, please listen to me, it hurts. Lu Shushan took action directly. Wang Fuegui was in tragedy. He felt aggrieved and wanted to cry but had no tears. After a while, the jade-fingered manager appeared and explained the situation to Lu Shushan in detail. Stop lying to me. Wang Fuegui's master is just an awe-inspiring. How could he be the kind of person you said? Also, how could Wang Fuegui be able to resist not ordering a technician? You must be lying. Lu Shushan gritted her teeth and said, humph, manager in order to excuse Wang Fuegui, you actually slandered an upright senior, you. Lu Shushan didn't believe it at all, and even wanted to teach her manager a lesson. The manager immediately took out the surveillance camera in the lobby. When he saw Suemo laughing after entering the club, Lu Shushan was stunned and completely dumbfounded. Urban Super Dude. Author, Eagle in the Desert. Chapter 822. After learning Suemo's true face, Lu Shushan realized that she had wrongly blamed Wang Fuegui, and the two reconciled. Next. Wang Fuegui and Lu Shushan did not leave 10 Finger like Jade Club, found a private room, and started doing the happiest thing between husband and wife. This operation confused the manager. It was the first time he saw someone bringing his wife to the club and doing what a couple should do in the club. Since the opening of 10 Fingers Like Jade Club until now, no, probably in all the clubs in the world, this kind of thing has never happened. It has never happened before, and it has never happened since. In Jiangbei today, the forces of all parties are complicated, and many hidden cultivators have arrived. Not only that, it turned out that some powerful ancient warriors did not want to participate in the recovery of spiritual energy. But I don't know where I heard that when spiritual energy is revived, it will produce the purest power in the world, which can be absorbed by both cultivators and ancient warriors. And if you get it, you will definitely be able to soar into the sky and your strength will increase by leaps and bounds. Then, some strong men who practiced the ancient martial arts system also arrived one after another, wanting to fight for it. Originally, the ancient martial arts system was not as good as the cultivation system, but they have benefited from the changes in ancient martial arts, and their overall strength has improved. There are many powerful martial masters in the world who are comparable to the realm of pill formation, but due to ominous reasons, the cultivation system cannot enter the true realm of pill formation, only the realm of fake pills. The simply powerful fake elixir realm is still comparable to Wuzun, and the strength gap between the two sides is not big. However, the ancient martial arts system is vaguely stronger, because some powerful ancient sects have people who have passed through the background and set foot in the realm of martial saints. All in all, the revival of spiritual energy is about to begin, and the undercurrent in Jiangbei is about to break out. At this moment, late at night, Jiangbei bus station. A man in purple robes, holding a fly whisk, strode out of the station. He looked to be about 20 or 30 years old, with regular features and even a bit of handsomeness. The Taoist robes worn by men are exquisitely made and covered with mysterious and complex patterns. They don't look like ordinary things. If there were any Taoist people here, they would definitely kneel down and salute the man. Because in Taoism, only ancestor-level figures are qualified to wear purple Taoist robes. There are countless Taoist temples all over the world, and there are countless Taoist priests, but there is only one person wearing a purple robe, which represents the highest Taoist status. Infinite Heavenly Lord, I, Wang Yangming, have finally gotten rid of my status as a visiting son-in-law. The man in purple robe is the old sect leader of Wudane Mountain, Wang Yangming, who is known as the one who knows everything. At this moment, Wang Yangming took a deep breath, looked at his Taoist robe and whisk, and showed a long-lost smile. How many years have passed, old man, you can finally see the light again. It's been really hard on you all these years to let you lie in your storage ring collecting dust. Wang Yangming smiled and said, however, from today on, you can shine. I will take you to break out of the earth and go to the whole universe, carry forward Taoism, and let me be everywhere in the boundless universe Taoist inheritance. Now, the top priority is to find the descendant of the Su family and give him some guidance. That boy is the key to the recovery of spiritual energy. I have to tell him some things to pay attention to. With this in mind, Wang Yangming walked out of the station and came to the road opposite the station. Although it was late at night, there were still a lot of people outside the station. Some people were trying to earn a living and some were on their way. Give me some money to spend. I haven't eaten for 2 days and 2 nights. I'm going to starve to death. Please do it. Wang Yangming had just stood on the roadside and calculated Su Yang's position. He was about to fly with his sword and go to the Su family manor to find Su Yang. But at this moment, a young man begging for food suddenly came over and hugged him. Wang Yangming's legs were stuck, and he was begging pitifully. Wang Yangming cursed and complained, then took a deep breath and said, Ba, I am compassionate, forget it, don't be angry, I'm not angry, wait, what am I talking about? Bullshit, I am Buddha Mercy, I am a Taoist priest, I almost let you go astray. Eminent monk, your uncle. Holy monk, I have an epiphany. I think what you said is so good and makes so much sense. But turn around. Infinite Heavenly Lord. This stack of banknotes is his personal money accumulated over the years, totaling more than 300 yuan. Young man, you are still young. I advise you to support yourself and not ask others to give you money. Instead, use your own strength to ask others for money. Only then will you have the confidence to spend the money you get, Wang Yangming advised. The beggar said gratefully, I haven't eaten for several days. Master, although you don't give much, these 5 yuan can definitely save my life. You don't have to feel that you have given less, and you don't feel guilty or sorry. The title of the attained eminent monk, you saved my life, in my heart, you are the attained eminent monk. Seeing this, Wang Yangming suddenly smiled, I didn't expect that I am so powerful. I can persuade people to do good in just a few words. It's me as expected, ha ha ha. When Wang Yangming heard this, he immediately became angry and furious. He organized the 5 yuan and put it into his pocket. Then he said angrily, are you blind or do you still have no eyes? I am a Taoist priest, a Taoist priest. After hearing Wang Yangming's words, the beggar stopped pretending and slowly stood up. This beggar has only one leg, is unkempt, and looks really miserable. Grandmaster. Wang Yangming gritted his teeth and looked at the disabled beggar lying on the ground, and said unhappily, go away quickly, there is no way I can give you money. Wang Yangming saw that the beggar was pitiful, so he decided to give him a sum of money. Wang Yangming put another 100 yuan back, as if reluctant to part with it, and then took out a $5 piece, reluctantly handed it out, and said generously, take it, save some flowers. No, what am I going to say later? Wang Yangming's sincere teachings, if you look shy every day and lose all your dignity, if you make money like this, you will not have the face to meet your ancestors after you die. But, young man, you are mistaken again. I am not a holy monk, I am a Taoist priest. You can call me eminent monk. Are you a bitch? You don't even know what you are praying for, and you still want 5 yuan from me. Go ahead and dream. Hey, the world is suffering. Unexpectedly, when Wang Yangming heard this, he raised his hands high and frowned, what did you just call me? Also, stop pretending. You are a good young man who has hands and feet. Why are you pretending to be disabled? With that said, the beggar went to receive the 5 yuan handed over by Wang Yangming. Shut up. This time when he ran away from home, Wang Yangming's wife didn't give him a dime, and his bank card was also stopped. The eminent monk. He first took out a $100 bill. When the beggar saw it, his eyes widened. Unexpectedly, the beggar suddenly interrupted, took out a fruit knife from his pocket, stared at Wang Yangming fiercely, and said sternly, robbery, damn Taoist priest, hand over all the money in your pocket. At this time, Wang Yangming looked down, couldn't help but sigh, and then took out a bunch of crumpled banknotes from the pocket of his purple robe. When the beggar saw this, he immediately felt disgusted, but having money was better than nothing, so he said gratefully, thank you, master, you are such an eminent monk. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Urban Super Dude. Author, Eagle in the Desert. Chapter 823. Wang Yangming was immediately dumbfounded, his face full of confusion. What's going on? You were so pious and humble just now, why did you turn around and become so fierce? Young man. After Wang Yangming came to his senses, his eyes fell on the beggar and he said seriously, do you know what you are doing? Robbery is a crime. Put down the knife quickly. I won't argue with you. You are still young. The future. Fuck you. The beggar pushed Wang Yangming directly and said viciously, what nonsense are you talking about? Take out the money quickly. Damn it, Are you serious? Wang Yangming cursed angrily. Holy monk, didn't you ask me to support myself and use my strength to get money? The young man gave a sneer, then walked over and grabbed the money from Wang Yangming's pocket. I asked you to work, you know what I wanted to do, but you were robbed, Wang Yangming said angrily. Work to earn a living. The beggar snatched a wad of banknotes from Wang Yangming's pocket, then curled his lips and said disdainfully, it's impossible to work part-time. It's tiring and you earn very little. I will never work part-time in this life. As the beggar spoke, he counted the banknotes in his hand and said disdainfully, Holy monk, seeing that you are dressed like a human being and wearing a whisk, I thought you were doing well, but it turns out you are also a poor person. For the sake of being so pitiful, I'll give you these $5. It's almost dawn, so let's buy some xiao long bao. The beggar smiled proudly, then threw a crumpled $5 bill to Wang Yangming, and put the remaining money into his pocket. Immediately afterwards, he took out a packet of soft Chinese medicine from his arms, opened it, took out one stick, lit it, and took 2 puffs before leaving slowly. Holy monk, I'm warning you, don't call the police, otherwise the first thing I will do when I get out of prison will be to take revenge on you. Before leaving, the beggar threatened him fiercely. Seeing Wang Yangming standing there stupidly, he didn't look back. My personal money. Wang Yangming watched the beggar walk away, his eyes filled with reluctance, but he could not pursue him. He is the first person in Taoism and can count everything, but he cannot count his own destiny. Besides, Wang Yangming is responsible for the Taoist tradition and is not an ordinary Taoist priest. He cannot do anything with ordinary people, otherwise the Taoist destiny will be affected. Certainly. This is just a normal situation. If the other party's crime is extremely heinous, Wang Yangming can still take action without affecting Taoist luck. But what the beggar did just now did not rise to the level of a heinous crime. The key was that the other party gave him 5 yuan in the end, which showed that he had good intentions. Faced with such ordinary people, Wang Yangming could only endure it and never fight back unless he had to. So, Wang Yangming Kong has great strength, but he did not resist just now, but allowed the other party to leave. Damn it! If you want to steal money, you can steal money. Please use the correct title. I am not a monk. I am a Taoist priest. Wang Yangming looked longingly at the direction the beggar was leaving, almost crying. Awful. It's so miserable. At this moment, he lowered his head and looked at the crumpled $5 on the ground, and finally chose to pick it up. He is such a good person. He also knows how to leave money for me to have breakfast. He is nicer to me than my wife. Thinking of this, Wang Yangming suddenly became less angry and even felt a little grateful to the beggar. Taoist priest, you just got off the bus. You must be exhausted after traveling all night. Do you want to find a hotel to rest? At this moment, an aunt in her 50s or 60s came up and said with an attentive face. No, I have something else to do. Wang Yangming refused directly. Come on, Taoist priest, my hotel is the best hotel near the bus station. All the guests who have been here say it's good, and there are many repeat guests. The aunt continued, there are even some customers who come here by car to patronize us. It's true, I don't need to lie to you. Why, you don't like me? Unexpectedly, the aunt suddenly became angry when she heard this. The aunt showed a smile, came over and whispered, I know it's not easy for Taoist priests to make money, don't worry, I'll give you a bargain, and I'll make sure you spend the least amount of money and have a comfortable time. The aunt pretended to be charming and said, don't think I am old. In fact, I have obvious advantages. I am experienced and well maintained. I am 64 years old, which is similar to 46. People say women 41 flowers, I promise you won't suffer any loss. But who would have thought that the aunt actually agreed, and even jumped into Wang Yangming's arms like a hungry tiger. Furthermore, Wang Yangming was also very curious about what the ant was talking about. $5. Make a deal. Wang Yangming smiled bitterly. He wanted to leave but couldn't. His aunt hugged his arm tightly. Wang Yangming glanced at Auntie. He didn't want to talk to her at first, but Auntie got the right address and knew to call him Taoist priest. Play. Only. Wang Yangming didn't believe what the aunt said, and smiled softly. I'm not stupid, how could someone come all the way by car and sleep in your hotel? Who would be so free? No no no. Taoist priest, wait a minute, don't leave. There are other waiters in our hotel. If you are really in a hurry and can't wait, I can come in person. Wang Yangming hurriedly said perfunctorily, the main reason is that I don't have much money, otherwise I would stay. In this way, a few minutes later, Wang Yangming was taken to a remote hotel by his aunt. Wang Yangming took out a crumpled 5 yuan and breathed a sigh of relief after saying that. Wang Yangming struggled for a while, but unfortunately the aunt was too strong, so he couldn't break free and had to follow her forward. Call him Taoist priest. Also, the aunt is going to receive it in person, it's too late, it's terrifying to think about it. Immediately afterwards, the aunt did not allow any further explanation, and directly pulled Wang Yangming into the alley near the bus station. Infinite Heavenly Lord. The aunt made a phone call in front of Wang Yangming, and the chat was very rich. 5 yuan, she would never agree to this. After all, eating a chicken leg now costs more than 5 yuan, and eating a chicken is definitely not enough. This, immeasurable Heavenly Lord, I still have something to do. Wang Yangming frowned and said, aren't you going to the hotel to rest? What are you going to do? Don't have much money, the aunt asked, how much money do you have? How could he refuse to communicate with someone who called him Taoist priest? Seeing this, Wang Yangming finally understood that the aunt was a pimp. Hey, Wang, you went out to receive guests. What, you went with your boyfriend? Then come back early and don't be discovered by your husband, otherwise he will come to the hotel to make trouble again. How can I do business? Well, you just make sure you know what's going on. I'll hang up first. I'll think of a way to deal with the guests here. At worst, I'll receive them myself. Taoist priest, don't pretend to be confused because you understand. Come with me quickly. The most beautiful waiter in our hotel has just seen off a guest and is free now. Wang Yangming reacted and turned around to leave. Since it was almost dawn, there were very few people here, only him and the aunt. This is not a serious hotel. Urban Super Dude. Author, Eagle in the Desert. Chapter 824. 5 minutes later. Wang Yangming wiped off the lipstick marks on his face and strode out of the hotel. As for the aunt, she collapsed on the ground, motionless, as if she had just experienced a violent impact, and her eyes were turned white. Infinite Heavenly Lord. Wang Yangming stood at the door of the hotel, looked back at the aunt lying on the ground, adjusted her clothes, and said helplessly, I didn't want to do it, you forced me to do it. You seem to be very powerful. I didn't expect you to be so useless. Just lie down peacefully. I hope you can have a long memory. Taoist priest, don't mess with me. Wang Yangming felt a little proud and turned to leave. But at this moment, a rapid siren sound came from not far away. Immediately afterwards, 3 or 4 police cars roared over and stopped outside the hotel, and then 20 or 30 police officers rushed out and surrounded the hotel exit. Comrade police officers, you came too soon. This hotel is not clean. The landlady is suspected of organizing a sale. When Wang Yangming saw the police officer, he approached him and wanted to report the situation to his comrade police officers. However, at this time, a nearby police officer took out the handcuffs and cuffed Wang Yangming with a click. We received a report that people gathered in this hotel to sell sex. We have reason to suspect that you are a prostitute. Please come with us, the young police officer said uprightly. WTF? Wang Yangming hurriedly explained, Comrade police officers, you have misunderstood. How could I, a monk, do such a thing? Haha, why are you acting and becoming a monk? Aren't you dressed like this just to seek excitement? The young police officer said coldly. What the hell, I'm looking for the excitement of wool. Wang Yangming didn't know whether to laugh or cry, and quickly said, even if you are really looking for excitement, you only let women cosplay. Have you ever seen a man wearing a uniform? You know a lot, you have so much fun, how dare you say that you are not a prostitute? The young police officer continued, listening to what you say, you are always talking about woolly things. It seems that you are not a real Taoist priest. You must be seeking excitement. You rich people really know how to play. It's so fun to play Taoist priests in a place like this, the young police officer said with disdain on his face. Rich man. When Wang Yangming heard these three words, his head suddenly exploded. He gritted his teeth and said, 10 minutes ago, I was indeed a rich man with a huge sum of money. Unfortunately, someone took me away. Speaking of this matter, the police informed me that I need to call the police. There was a beggar robbery just now, and he took all my money away, Wang Yangming said hurriedly. Beggar. The young police officer couldn't help but laugh and said, you are so good at playing. I've seen people play maids, nurses, and CEOs. This is the first time I've seen someone play beggar. This is quite novel. Comrade police officer, you have misunderstood. I was really robbed by a beggar. I want to call the police. Wang Yangming was about to cry. Okay. The young police officer was too lazy to listen to Wang Yangming's explanation, so he said, one code is the same. Let's deal with your prostitution matter first, and then talk about your robbery. If it is true, we will make the decision for you. Okay, thank you to the police officer for informing me. Let's deal with my prostitution first. I'll wait for this matter. Wang Yangming smiled bitterly and said, Comrade police officer, you still don't believe me. I really didn't engage in prostitution. I was wrongly accused. Shut up and get in the car. The young police officer pushed Wang Yangming, forced him onto the car, and then got into the car himself. As for the other police officers, they had already rushed into the hotel and arrested other people. It has to be said that the current police are very efficient, and soon everyone in the hotel was arrested. The ant who was knocked unconscious by Wang Yangming just now naturally did not run away, and was even escorted to the car where Wang Yangming was. The two men sat facing each other with their hands locked in handcuffs, with a police officer beside them. Grandma, please explain to them that I really didn't engage in prostitution. Wang Yangming looked at the ant opposite and said in a pleading tone, we have to be realistic. You did have thoughts about me just now, but I didn't agree. I punched you down. You have to prove my innocence. What did you call me? Grandma. Are you blind? I'm only 46 this year, the ant said angrily. I said it myself, you are 64, if you look at it, you are probably 70. Shouldn't you be an old lady? Wang Yangming said seriously. You're only 70 years old. 70, you underestimate me. I'm hundreds of years old. A few hundred years old, how dare you say, damn bitch, our hotel was fine before you came, so you must have reported it. Just wait, I will definitely make you regret it, Ant said fiercely. Shut up. The young police officer sitting next to Wang Yangming scolded, turned to look at the ant, and asked in a cold voice, has he ever prostituted you? We monitor the entire process of law enforcement. What you say will be recorded. You should know that you can commit perjury, there will be consequences, so please tell the truth. Whoring. The ant thought for a few seconds, and finally said through gritted teeth with hatred for Wang Yangming, "Before you guys came, he and I were doing errands. He pressed me on the bed and refused to let me move. He also took off my clothes and put I. Okay, there's no need to explain the process in detail, we're not interested." The young police officer interrupted first, then looked at Wang Yangming next to him with disgust, and said coldly, "You are really not a vegetarian, you are so old, you can do it?" I. Wang Yangming was about to cry but had no tears, and stubbornly retorted, "I really didn't prostitute her, by the way, there must be a monetary transaction for prostitution. You can check, I didn't give her any money, ha ha ha, that's it? Can you prove my innocence? You gave it?" The aunt's hands were handcuffed, and she took out a crumpled $5 bill from her pocket with difficulty, and said quickly, "Comrade police officer, these $5 are what he just gave me. I'm old and worthless. No matter how small a fly is, it's still meat. Normally, the hotel business is not very good. I have to make a living. I can do it for 5 yuan. At least I can buy 2 kilograms of rice," the ant said seriously. Fuck. When Wang Yangming heard this, he couldn't help it anymore and cursed directly, "You bitch, you are so cheap." "Comrade police officer," he scolded me, the ant quickly complained, "he insulted my character, I want to call the police." "You want others to insult you?" the young police officer said coldly, "You two are both good people. Stop arguing. If you have any questions, let's talk about it in the station. I don't want to go to the bureau. I still have things to do, very important things," Wang Yangming said anxiously. "Is there anything more important than being caught for prostitution?" the young police officer said in a deep voice, "You are a good person, but you have done nothing wrong and you choose to go whoring. Are you worthy of your family? Think about how to explain it to your family bar." Wang Yangming was too lazy to explain. After thinking for a moment, he asked, "Can I call my family?" When Wang Yangming counts others, he basically doesn't miss anything. Although Su Yang's origin is relatively mysterious, Wang Yangming dare not speculate on Su Yang's cultivation methods, but his phone number and where he is can still be calculated. At this moment, he calculated with his fingers and got Su Yang's contact information. He wanted to call Su Yang and ask Su Yang to quickly think of a way to rescue him. No. The young police officer refused directly and said seriously, "You can't contact anyone before the interrogation. Everything will be discussed after the interrogation. We will naturally notify your family without you opening your mouth. You don't have to be afraid. I saw that there are surveillance cameras around. Our comrades have taken away the surveillance cameras. After verification, if you are really wronged, you will be fine." After the young police officer finished speaking, he stopped talking. "Why am I so unlucky? It seems that what the hexagram says is true. As long as I leave my wife, I am destined to be unlucky. If I leave her, everything will go wrong for me." Wang Yangming really wanted to cry this time, feeling very aggrieved. "Honey, I suddenly miss you a little. Hey, I really miss the days when I was a home-based son-in-law. Although I was humiliated, even though I had to wash my mother-in-law's underwear, carry water for my wife's feet, and wait on my sister-in-law, I was not unlucky at that time." Wang Yangming regretted running away from home, but when he thought about the vital importance of spiritual energy recovery, he strengthened his determination. "The sun and the moon are fleeting, and the stars are passing by. Before I knew it, the sun rose and it was dawn." Su Yang slowly opened his eyes, ended his cultivation state, and raised a faint smile at the corner of his mouth. After a night of hard training, he refined and absorbed a dragon crystal, and finally reached the peak of nascent soul as he wished. In less than one night, he crossed several small realms and reached the top directly. This is naturally impossible for ordinary people, but Su Yang is different. He possesses the soul of the immortal emperor and has no lack of understanding of various realms. As long as he has enough spiritual energy, he can completely ignore bottlenecks and advance infinitely. Only. Previously, Su Yang considered the endurance of his body and did not want to overthrow the achievements, so he made steady progress and did not improve his level quickly. But it's different with Dragon Crystal. After absorbing this thing, it not only provides spiritual energy, but also strengthens the physical body, making the strength of one's physical body fully worthy of the peak strength of Yuanying. Qi Long is such a good man. This dragon crystal has helped me a lot. Su Yang felt the power in his body, and was very happy in his heart. He smiled softly and said, "If I refine all 5 dragon crystals, I can really set foot in the tribulation realm." But at that time, with the Void Tower and Dongfu with the key, facing the peak of transcending tribulation, I also have the strength to fight. It's just that the spiritual energy recovery is imminent. I have a feeling that when I break through from the nascent soul to transcend the tribulation, I will definitely experience a life and death thunder tribulation. Su Yang murmured to himself, "If I am injured by thunder tribulation, even if I advance to the tribulation transcending realm, it will be of no use. I should focus on spiritual energy recovery." Thinking of this, Su Yang got up, walked out of bed, and pushed the door open. At this moment, Li Feixuan also walked out of the room. "Honey, you got up so early. Have you been practicing last night?" Su Yang greeted with a smile. Li Feixuan nodded, her eyes fell on Su Yang, and she smiled and said, "Su Yang, you must have been practicing secretly last night, and you want to surpass me." After a while. "Haha, okay. Although I am relatively strong and don't usually eat much, I really want to eat xiao long bao today." "What?" When Su Yang heard this, his eyes turned slightly red. He was satisfied to have such a wife in this life. At this moment, Su Yang felt that he had an unprecedented sense of satisfaction. Su Yang just said it casually, but Li Feixuan became serious and said seriously, "Su Yang, I will protect you with my life, forever and ever." After hearing these 3 words, Su Yang was immediately shocked. "Su Yang." "So," Su Yang asked curiously, "what's the name of my friend?" "My friend was caught engaging in prostitution. The other person's attitude was very tough, and he didn't mention any money transfer. He just asked me to go to the police station, which didn't look fake." "Haha, it's settled, wife, you can't go back on your word, never dislike me, and always protect me." Su Yang smiled. Li Feixuan approached Su Yang and comforted, "You don't have to work so hard, because no matter how hard you try, you can't surpass me." The phone was connected, and a man's voice came through, claiming to be a police officer. "Women are for protection. Don't worry, wife. Sooner or later, I will become strong and have the ability to protect you," Su Yang said seriously. After a long time, the two separated. "Wife. Su Yang regained his composure and smiled and said, "Bah, wife, it's unlucky to talk about life and death so early in the morning. Let's go have breakfast. I miss the Xiaolong Bao at the end of Enkang Street." "Wang Yangming." Su Yang stopped, glanced at the number on the caller ID, frowned slightly and said, "Are you trying to fool me? I am upright and above board, and all the friends I have made are the same people. How could my friend be a prostitute?" Li Feixuan's little head shook like a rattle. She seemed to be casual, but in fact she said seriously, "You are going to die, what's the point of living for me? I don't want to die behind you. If you want to die, I will die first. I want you to miss me forever. I won't listen. I won't listen. I am a people's police officer, police number 8846. I don't have time to lie to you. Come to the police station as soon as possible, and you will know if I am a liar." Su Yang showed a look of shame as if he had been caught. I am your man after all, but you are so much better than me. I must feel ashamed. Is it Su Yang? This is the police station in the city. During our anti-pornography campaign last night, we caught a Taoist priest who was suspected of being a prostitute. He claimed to be your friend. If you have time now, come to the police station in the city and pick him up. Honey, why are you using your life to protect me? I don't want you to do that. But at this moment, a local number suddenly called. You've seen it all. Concubine Li said with a smile, actually, I think this is good. From now on, I will be the eldest sister in the family. I will treat you like a little naughty dog. I will protect you. I will beat up anyone who dares to mess with you. Li Fixuan nodded in agreement, and then the two of them went to eat xiao long bao. Su Yang said seriously, if one day, only one of us can live, then the person who dies must be me, my wife, do you hear me? You don't have to be anxious or blame yourself. I won't dislike you. Su Yang was very moved and met Li Fixuan's gaze, and the two hugged each other naturally. Li Fixuan also hugged Su Yang tightly, and a smile couldn't help appearing on her beautiful face. Urban Super Dude. Author, Eagle in the Desert. Chapter 825. Wang Yangming. Caught whoring? Even Wang Yangming, who has not left out anything, is in such a miserable state now. Fake. This must be false. However, since the other party can name Wang Yangming, he must really know Wang Yangming. Is it possible that the old sect master of Tianji sect is really so miserable? I have informed you, come here as soon as possible. His identity is rather suspicious. We have not found any information about him. If you don't come, we may have to detain him for 24 hours and conduct an in-depth investigation on him. The police officer on the opposite side spoke again, then hung up the phone. He didn't mention the money transfer at all, so he was obviously not a liar. My day, a Taoist boss was caught engaging in prostitution. This is huge news. I'm so numb. Su Yang put away his phone and showed a wry smile. Su Yang. Li Fixuan was standing next to Su Yang and naturally heard the conversation between Su Yang and the police officer. She asked with confusion on her face, who is Wang Yangming? Are you familiar with him? Wang Yangming, the old master of the Tianji sect in Wudane Mountain, is known as the one who knows everything. He is a real big shot. Su Yang briefly introduced Wang Yangming, and then continued, I am not familiar with him, I have never even met him. Then he was caught as a prostitute. Why did he tell you your name and ask you to ransom him? Li Fixuan asked doubtfully. Not sure. Su Yang shook his head and then said, didn't I go to the 100 sex martial arts competition before? The place was in Wudane Mountain. I had communicated with the current sect leader of Wudane Mountain. Maybe he heard about it from the current sect leader. My name. So that's it? Li Fixuan nodded, and then said with a look of disgust, since you are not familiar with him, don't worry about him. This person is really unscrupulous. As a Taoist priest, he would do that kind of thing, which is simply a discredit to Wudane Mountain. That's right, it's so shameless. I just went for prostitution. The key is that I got caught. This will be a black mark for my whole life. It's simply shameful, Su Yang severely condemned. If you don't get caught, wouldn't it be a black spot? Li Fixuan asked sideways. Well. Su Yang reacted immediately and hurriedly smiled and said, that is also a black point, wife. I despise this kind of people the most. They corrupt the social atmosphere and our men's faces are all disgraced by them. Come on, didn't you like to go to the club before? If the eldest brother doesn't talk about the second brother, you have the least say in this matter. Concubine Li rolled her eyes at Su Yang. Didn't I explain to you? I did it to cover myself up. Su Yang said hurriedly, Look at when have I been to that kind of place since I exposed my strength. There is nothing wrong with that. If you go, I will definitely not let you touch me again, Li Fixuan said seriously. Jiang Qingshui sat cross-legged on the bed, couldn't help showing an envious expression, and then said with a wry smile, "Hey, why wasn't I the one who met Mr. Su in the first place?" After making up his mind, Jiang Qingshui stood up, walked out of bed, left a farewell message on the table with his true energy, then opened the door and quickly left the Su family manor. Subsequently, my heart is as high as the sky. Naturally I will not take such a man seriously. This is fate. The revival of spiritual energy has nothing to do with me, and I don't need to fight for anything. Jiangbei is too dangerous at the moment. As a Taoist priest, he dares to go whoring. He is definitely not a good person. Don't follow his bad example. Li Fixuan said, after we get him out of the police station, we will ignore him and you should not contact him again. She didn't know if she would have a chance to come back after leaving, but she didn't care anymore. Master Su is such a good man. Concubine Xian is so happy to be with him. Since he reported my name to the police, he probably didn't want others to know that he had done such a thing, so I felt that I needed to help him. The Starry Sky ancient road has been around for a long time, but few people dare to step into it. Li Fixuan thought about it seriously, then nodded and said, "Yes, but you can't have too much interaction with him." As Jiang Qingshui spoke, he shook his head and said, "Forget it, he doesn't belong to me. I shouldn't be obsessed with him anymore. It's time to give up." That's pretty much it. Let's go and have breakfast. Concubine Li smiled. Su Yang did not agree, but said, "Honey, although I am not familiar with that Wang Yangming, he is a big shot in Wudane Mountain after all. If I could have met Mr. Su earlier, then the woman who is by Mr. Su's side now would be me. This. And I'm just a little martial lord. If I stay, I won't be able to help Mr. Su. Instead, I will cause him trouble. In this case, I might as well leave and look for my own opportunity." Jiang Qingshui could tell that Su Yang had no feelings for her, so he decided to drop everything and plan to go outside the territory. After thinking about this, Jiang Qingshui still felt a little reluctant to let go of Su Yang. He sighed again, "Hey, it used to be difficult to make water in the sea, except for Wushan, it is not cloud." Su Yang drove Li Fixuan away from the Su family manor and went straight to the city police station. Jiang Qingshui sighed and said, "There is God's will in the dark. If you miss it, you have missed it. There will never be a way back. If you think about it carefully, even if I did meet Mr. Su first, I might not like him. After all, he is notorious and he is just the dandy young master of a small family in Jiangbei. Because no one knows where the other end of the Starry Sky Road is and what kind of world it is." "Okay, wife, I'll listen to you," Su Yang agreed with a smile. "After meeting Mr. Su, for me, there is no one else in the world I can trust with my whole life." Su Yang continued, "After all, when you travel around the world, you have many friends and many paths, my wife, are you right?" Su Yang didn't know that Jiang Qingshui had left. At this time, he and Li Fixuan came to the city police station and met Wang Yangming. With this thought in his mind, Jiang Qingshui seemed to be relieved, and he felt much more relaxed. There is nothing left on earth worthy of my nostalgia. Let me go back to Fenyang City to see my family first. Then I will go to the outside world through the Starry Sky ancient road to gain greater opportunities. Don't worry, I have such a beautiful wife who will accompany me for free, so I would be stupid enough to spend money to find such a shady woman," Su Yang said with a smile. Jiang Qingshui must have a strong character and never want to be weaker than others in his life. If he can't be the best, what's the harm in dying? In the next room, Jiang Qingshui also ended his cultivation state and heard the conversation between Su Yang and Li Fixuan. "Forget it, from now on, I, Jiang Qingshui, will no longer consider matters between men and women, and concentrate on my cultivation. I hope that one day I can reach the top and become a martial emperor. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Urban Super Dude. Author, Eagle in the Desert. Chapter 826. Damn it, Brother Sue, you're finally here. They said I was a gangster and refused to let me go. Please help me. After seeing Su Yang, Wang Yangming immediately came up to him and said pitifully. After struggling all morning, he was already tired. Seeing Su Yang was like seeing his savior. Don't come too close to me, and don't call me Brother Su. I'm not familiar with you. Su Yang pushed Wang Yangming, who was leaning against him, and then said disgustedly, also, why are you pretending to be a gangster? The police officers told me that you were arrested because of prostitution. Wang Yangming, let's talk about you. After all, you are also an awesome person and a good example of Taoism. You actually did such a thing. In order to draw a clear line with Wang Yangming in front of his wife, Su Yang said righteously, if this spreads to Tianjin, why would you have the face to wear a purple robe? Damn it, I didn't lie to you. This was a misunderstanding. If you don't believe me, ask the police comrades. Wang Yangming gritted his teeth and said. I can prove this. The young police officer next to him said, he did not engage in prostitution. On the contrary, he was extremely miserable. We called up the surrounding surveillance and found that he was really unlucky. I got off the bus early this morning. As soon as I left the station, a beggar robbed me of my money. The young police officer continued, soon after, a pimp took him to the hotel without any explanation and forced him to prostitute him. When he didn't agree, the aunt came to force him, and he was almost raped by the bully. At first, I thought he was a prostitute and I treated him very badly. The young police officer reflected on himself, this is also a mistake in my work. I have apologized to him and obtained his forgiveness. The leader also criticized me. However, he said his name was Wang Yangming, but there is no such person in our system. The young police officer looked at Su Yang and continued, that's why I called you over to find out more about the situation. Robbed by a beggar? Being raped by the bully? The more Su Yang listened, the more confused he became. Is the dignified old master of Tianji sect so weak? It's not right. Su Yang looked at Wang Yangming carefully and saw that the power in the other person's body was terrifying and even stronger than his own. Because Wang Yangming can hide, Su Yang is not sure what state Wang Yangming is in. He can't even tell whether the opponent is following the cultivation system or the ancient martial arts system. But one thing is certain, this Wang Yangming's combat power must be extremely terrifying. It's unreasonable for such an awesome person to be robbed by a beggar and almost raped by a bully. Su Yang, where do you live? Please report your identity number and cooperate with our work at this time, the young police officer asked. Comrade police officer. Su Yang hadn't answered yet. At this time, Li Feixuan took the phone and handed it over. She smiled softly and said, please answer this call. The young police officer paused for a moment, then took the call. His expression immediately became respectful, and he hurriedly said, yes, we will release him immediately. Immediately afterwards, the young police officer returned the phone to Li Feixuan and said politely, so you are the niece of our chief. You can just take her away. Okay, Su Yang, I don't care about this concubine, Li said with a smile, let's go and have breakfast together. Su Yang, I'm very interested in what he said. Su Yang said seriously, let's go without him and let him stroll slowly by himself. Wang Yangming said excitedly, with a wife like this, no wonder you often go to clubs but have never been caught. I thought he had done something like that. Now I know it was a misunderstanding. Su Yang cursed. If he hadn't considered that he couldn't defeat Wang Yangming, he would have taken action to punish evil and promote good. My God, shut up. Su Yang cursed and said, also, can you be more serious? Let's see if you speak like the old master of Tianji section. What the hell, if I had known this I wouldn't have fished you out, I would have left you at the police station. No matter what you are pretending to be, I am sure that Wang Yangming will not leave anything out. Although you are a person with great luck, I have calculated that your private life will not affect your luck, and naturally there will be no backlash. Brother Su, your wife is awesome. She was able to do it with just one phone call. That's amazing. Su Yang and Li Feiquan returned to the parking place, and Wang Yangming trotted along and followed them. Well, I understand, I'm causing trouble for you. Wang Yangming said seriously, Immeasurable Heavenly Lord, the Buddhists say that meat and wine pass through the intestines, and the Buddha kept it in his heart. I just like to talk, and I think Dazu, the old man, will forgive me. Su Yang glanced at Wang Yangming and was too lazy to talk to him, so he said, honey, get in the car, let's go. I'm not Qin Changxiu, my name is Li Feiquan. Li Feiquan smiled softly. Wang Yangming patted his head, pretending to have just reacted, and then said, so you are Miss Li Feiquan. I understand. No wonder Brother Su calls you wife. You two are engaged. Concubine Li said with a smile, Mr. Wang is a very nice person with a sense of humor. You should get in touch with him more. Su Yang smiled and nodded, and then the three of them left the police station together. He did not break the law. We detained him just to confirm his identity. Since you have come forward, we have no reason to detain him anymore. The young police officer said that he did not choose to release Li Feiquan because of his identity. Honey, I think what you said before is right. This Taoist priest is not serious. I want to stay away from him. Damn it, are you a pervert? As a Taoist priest and a Taoist example, you are so idle that it hurts. Do you count me? Su Yang's face was extremely dark, and he gritted his teeth and said, you are pretending to me, right? With your ability, you already know the identity of my wife, and you deliberately mentioned Shui to sow discord between me and my wife. What the hell? Wang Yangming, why are you so vicious? A few minutes later. Brother Su, I really admitted the wrong person. It's all my fault. You can scold him if you want, Wang Yangming said helplessly. Hee, okay, Miss Jianshan Snow, don't worry, I will definitely tell you everything I know, Wang Yangming said with a smile. Oh my God, I'm sorry, I recognized the wrong person. Brother Su called you wife just now. I thought you were Jian Shangxiu from Jufeng Mountain. Depend on. Let's go, Mr. Wang, get in the car, I want to hear who Su Yang's confidant is. Su Yang said with a dark face, who goes to the club so often? What nonsense are you talking about? Hey, I don't want to be like this either. I have been in the world for so long, and I don't think I can change it anymore. My darn thing. Wang Yangming curled his lips and said, to tell you the truth, when I was the son-in-law washing my mother-in-law's underwear, I was so bored that I often counted on you. I knew you very well. I even knew all the beauties you had. Concubine Li showed a smile, and then said with a smile, Su Yang, Mr. Wang, let's go. Unexpectedly, Li Feiquan smiled and said, Mr. Wang, you haven't had breakfast yet, why don't we go eat xiao long bao together, and on the way you can tell me about Su Yang's confidant. Urban Super Dude. Author, Eagle in the Desert. Chapter 827. Haha, okay, I'll tell you one by one. Wang Yangming looked at Su Yang, showed a proud smile, and then got directly into the car. Immediately afterwards, Li Feiquan also sat in and waved at the same time, urging Su Yang to get in the car. Su Yang showed a helpless smile and had no choice but to take Wang Yangming and drive away. En route. Li Feixuan asked again how many confidants Su Yang had. Wang Yangming's eyes lit up and he became excited instantly. Miss Li Feixuan, let me tell you, Brother Su's good luck with women is enviable. Wang Yangming's expression was very rich, and he said in an exaggerated way, according to my calculations, he must have dozens or 20 women, and they are all top-notch beauties. They are all very beautiful. Any one of them will be an existence that captivates the country and the city. For example, you or Miss Jian Shangxiu, which one is not of the highest level of beauty and beauty? Wang Yangming said with envy on his face, I even thought for a time that a man should be like Brother Su, enjoying happiness among thousands of flowers. I already know Jian Shan Snow. Li Feixuan smoothed her hair in front of her forehead, glanced at Su Yang, and then smiled and said, tell me what other beauties she has. That's a lot. Wang Yangming said, not to mention anything else, just this time she went to Wudane Mountain, she got to know several people. For example, the Warren of Chungguang Tower, Lan Miaoi, and another example, the descendant of Mount Imei, Zhao's Hiruo. Both of these two are the most beautiful women in the ancient martial arts world. Warren Miaoi is even as beautiful as Zhufeng Mountain Qinchangxiu. She is the most beautiful in the world. Wang Yangming continued, Zhao's Hiruo is not ordinary. As a descendant of Mount Imei, he grew up in a nunnery. He is born with a unique temperament, as if he has escaped from the world, which is unforgettable. How to describe her, Miss Li, let me tell you this, you should have seen Swordsman. Wang Yangming smiled and said, Zhao's Hiruo is like the little junior sister Yilin in Swordsman. Oh. Li Feixuan asked curiously, how did she and Su Yang meet? Well, that can definitely be regarded as a touching love story. Wang Yangming didn't mind watching the excitement, and continued, Brother Su and junior sister Yilin, no, with Zhao's Hiruo, the two of them are very destined, as if they were destined by God. During the 100-sex competition, he and Zhao's Hiruo were opponents, and only one of them could advance directly. Wang Yangming continued, Brother Su is also a big lover. As soon as he entered the ring, he teased Zhao's Hiruo. I have said before that Zhao's Hiruo grew up in a nunnery. She is very pure. She is just a little girl who has not been exposed to the secular world. She happens to be in love for the first time. How could she withstand the teasing of a love veteran like Brother Su? She turned red on the spot. Wang Yangming glanced at Su Yang secretly, and then said, the two of them were flirting in the ring, but Zhao's Hiruo's master, the philanthropist, was so angry that he urged Zhao's Hiruo to take action quickly, and even asked Zhao's Hiruo to kill Brother Su. Just like that, the two started fighting, going back and forth, fighting for a long time. Wang Yangming continued, actually, with Brother Su's strength, he can completely crush Zhao's Hiruo. But he didn't do that. Instead, he deliberately lost to Zhao's Hiruo and pretended to be injured by Zhao's Hiruo. Zhao's Hiruo's master, Charity Master, saw Su Yang's defeat, so he asked Zhao's Hiruo to kill Brother Su with one sword. Wang Yangming smiled and said, at this time, Brother Su's trick came, and he didn't resist. He just looked at Zhao's Hiruo affectionately, saying that he bet Zhao's Hiruo wouldn't kill him, then closed his eyes and risked his life. Gave it to Zhao's Hiruo. In the end, Zhao's Hiruo really didn't kill Brother Su. She had been attracted to Brother Su a long time ago and couldn't help but fall in love with Brother Su. Wang Yangming said with admiration, speaking of which, I really admire Brother Su. He has captured the heart of the most beautiful woman so easily. Not only that, Zhao's Hiruo is the direct disciple of Charity Master Tai. She is destined to take over Mount Imei in the future and become a nun. Wang Yangming said, Brother Su, he can handle even nuns. He is so good at picking up girls. My darn thing. Hearing this, Su Yang couldn't help but park the car on the side of the road, gritted his teeth and said, Wang Yangming, what the hell are you talking about? Su Yang. At this time, Li Feixuan looked at Su Yang and asked with a smile, is everything Taoist Wang said true? Yes, but no, there is a discrepancy. In fact, there is a reason why I took the initiative to tease Mrs. Hiruo. Su Yang explained, there is a sword in her hand, and there is something I need on the sword. If I ask her directly, she may not give it, and it will attract other people's attention. I have no choice but to make this move, Su Yang said. So you seduce her and sacrifice your own beauty, concubine Li Xian smiled. Ahem, this. Su Yang touched the bridge of his nose and then said, I didn't think much about it at the time, Okay, no need to explain. I believe you. I just want to know and I don't mean to blame you. Li Feixuan smiled softly, then her face changed, and she said unhappily, but, Su Yang, I told you before, I don't care how many women you have, but you can't provoke shady women. That little junior sister Yilin, according to what Chief Wang said, she has a good background, I can accept it, but what kind of Warren from Chunguang Tower is she? Are you going to provoke her? Li Feixuan said angrily, you can do something to a woman who has been touched by countless men. You are really not taboo about meat and vegetables. Wait a minute, Miss Li, you can't say that. Before Su Yang could explain, Wang Yangming retorted, Miss Lan Miaoi is not a bad woman, she is very innocent. Although she is in Chunguang Tower, she keeps a clean mind and is just performing arts. Wang Yangming continued, speaking of Miss Lan Miaoi, she is also a woman with a hard life. She was born in the divine section. She has had various auras since she was born and has attracted much attention. Ms. Lan Miaoi has a master who is very powerful. She has already mastered the 9 revolution false pill. If compared to the ancient martial arts system, she can pass a few moves against the martial saint level. However, her master was old after all. When he was about to run out of energy, he finally couldn't help but set foot in the realm of pill formation. Wang Yangming sighed and said, the earth is ominous. It will be very painful to set foot on the pill. Her master couldn't bear the torture, so he set foot on the ancient road in the starry sky and left the earth. Since then, there has been no news. Since then, Chunguang Tower has been supported by Lan Miaoi alone. Men from all the major forces in the ancient martial arts world are interested in her, including young geniuses and famous mountain masters. Thanks to the mutual restraint between these people, Miss Lan Miaoi was able to survive in the cracks without being obtained by anyone. Wang Yangming continued, being in the flower streets and willow lanes, but always maintaining a pure body, emerging from the mud and unsullied, this is probably Miss Lan Miaoi. So that's it? Hearing Wang Yangming's explanation, Li Feixuan's face improved a lot. In this case, there is nothing wrong with it. How did she and Su Yang know each other? Haha, you have to ask brother Su about this. He took the initiative to go to Chunguang Tower. When he arrived at Chunguang Tower, he bluntly said that he wanted to fuck the courtesan Lan Miaoi, which shocked everyone. Wang Yangming laughed and glanced at Su Yang. Worry. Su Yang was furious and gritted his teeth and said, Wang Yangming, you are going too far. You only speak half of your words. Is it interesting? This is all I know, brother Su, don't be angry, Wang Yangming said. Fuck you. Su Yang said fiercely, you think there are no omissions, do you really not know the reason why I entered Chunguang Tower? You have to make it clear to me today, otherwise I'll mess it up right away. Haven't you been planning for many years to let me activate spiritual energy recovery? I won't participate. I'll hide later, Su Yang threatened. No, 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 brother Su, I was joking with my siblings. I'll explain it right now. Wang Yangming was afraid that Su Yang was really messing up, so he hurriedly said, Miss Li, I didn't make it clear just now. Actually, the reason why brother Su went to Chunguang Tower was not to have fun, but to maintain peace in Wudane Mountain. It's like this. Brother Su noticed that there was a terrifying death energy exuding in the Chunguang Tower. With strong curiosity, he went in to find out. The remarks about fucking the Warren are just to attract attention. I want Lan Miaoi to take the initiative to find him so that he can detect the death energy. Wang Mingyang praised. Later, Brother Su learned that Lan Miaoi owned the evil spirit stone. That thing was so terrifying. If Lan Miaoi released the death energy inside, all life within 100 miles of Wudang Mountain would be wiped out. In order to maintain peace within 100 miles of Wudang Mountain, Brother Su resolutely chose to sacrifice his appearance to stabilize Lan Miaoi. He is really great and admirable. Wang Yangming said with a face full of emotion, the more I think about it, the more I feel that Brother Su is selfless. No, I will call that little guy Wang Kongyun and ask him to get a statue for Brother Su and stand it at the door of Tianjimen forever and ever. My brother is respected by thousands of people. Go away, what nonsense are you talking about? Who has sacrificed his own appearance? Su Yang glanced at Wang Yangming, his face darkened, turned to Li Feixuan, and said, honey, don't listen to his nonsense. Lan Miaoi and I have nothing to do with each other. It doesn't happen now, doesn't mean it won't happen in the future. You have to believe me, I can figure it out, Wang Yangming said seriously. Your uncles. Su Yang was furious and was about to teach Wang Yangming a lesson, but was stopped by Li Feixuan. Okay, Su Yang, I'm not even angry. Why are you so angry? Li Feixuan smiled elegantly and said, it's just that, Su Yang, your confidant is of a very high standard. Yes, he is indeed the man I like. He is quite capable. Su Yang smiled bitterly and didn't know what to say for a while. Mainly, he couldn't tell whether Li Feixuan was really not angry or pretending not to be angry. Even if he has nothing to do with Zhao's Hirulan Miaoi, he doesn't want to talk too much at this time, lest it gets worse. This. Li Feixuan was shocked and became even more curious. Then you must be very strong. In that case, why are you so miserable, being robbed, and almost being raped by the overlord? Brother Su. Wang Yangming said seriously, however, brothers and sisters, please remember one sentence, God is affectionate, and he will never let lovers separate. When Wang Yangming heard this, he suddenly became proud and said proudly, to be honest, Miss Li, forget it, Su Yang is my brother, I'll call you sister-in-law. That's it? At this time, Li Feixuan no longer struggled with the matter of Su Yang's confidant, but said, Su Yang told me that you are the old master of Wu Tianji sect, and you are a very powerful person. Su Yang did not stop her and drove concubine Li to the Su family manor because he had many questions to ask Wang Yangming. Wang Yangming smiled and said, haha, I have lived hundreds of years older, this is just a skin. A few hundred years old. Come on, wife, let's go eat xiao long bao then, Su Yang smiled softly. After concubine Li heard this, her mood was a bit wrong, and it could be seen that she was not happy. So, she proposed to practice on her own, feeling that as long as she was strong enough, she could change everything. Li Feixuan nodded, her mood recovered a little, she smoothed her hair in front of her forehead and showed a smile. Then the formation was arranged to isolate everything, and the room became a simple dimensional space. You are so powerful, but you look so young, are you really fake? Li Feixuan asked curiously. After settling Li Feixuan, Su Yang took Wang Yangming back to his room. Li Feixuan nodded as if she understood, and then asked, Master Wang, you said that you have left out everything, then you can help me calculate, can Su Yang and I last forever? Honey, don't listen to his nonsense. It must be nonsense. Don't think wildly. After eating breakfast, Li Feixuan was still worried. Wang Yangming's words left a seed of uneasiness in her heart. Su Yang glared at Wang Yangming fiercely and said coldly, Wang Yangming, from now on, I want you to shut up and don't blame me for being rude if you talk nonsense again. Okay, I'm silent. Master Wang. After doing all this, before Su Yang asked, Wang Yangming said seriously, I know you have a lot of questions, but before you ask, I want to tell you one thing first. Regarding the true origin of Li Feiquan, you want to listen? Young brothers and sisters, I, Wang Yangming, am by all accounts the most awesome figure in Taoism today. In the whole world, I am the only one qualified to wear a purple robe. Anyone who is a true Taoist must salute me when they see me. Wang Yangming's expression suddenly became awkward. He did not answer directly, but said, actually, I have really calculated the future development of you and brother Su, but, it's not convenient to say now. Um. Wang Yangming smiled bitterly and said, those who bullied me today are ordinary people. I am a Taoist example. You cannot use my power on ordinary people, otherwise it will affect Taoist luck. Hey, I just end up in tears if I talk too much. Next. Su Yang restarted the car and drove all the way, and soon arrived at the destination. This matter involves too much. If the secret is leaked, I am afraid that the originator of Taoism will not be able to protect me. I will definitely suffer backlash and even be in danger of my life. When Wang Yangming saw that Su Yang was really angry, he closed his mouth and said nothing. Urban Super Dude. Author, Eagle in the Desert. Chapter 828. The Real Origin? When Su Yang heard this, he frowned slightly, with a look of doubt on his face. What's the meaning? Could it be that there is something fishy about my wife's identity? Wang Yangming. At this time, Su Yang stared at Wang Yangming and said in a deep voice, Li Feiquan is one of the women I care about most on earth. No matter what you want to say, I advise you to think it over carefully before you say it. If you dare to lie to me, then don't blame me for being rude. Brother Su, how can I tell lies in front of you? Don't worry. Wang Yangming was not angry because of Su Yang's change of expression. He smiled softly and said, besides, the identities of the younger siblings are not bad news. Even if I don't tell them now, you will know sooner or later. Say it, don't sell it. Su Yang breathed a sigh of relief when he heard this. Good. Wang Yangming nodded, and then said, actually, my sister-in-law is not from the earth. She comes from outside the territory. She was once glorious in the sky and the universe. No one who is the most powerful does not know her name. The Yanlong immortal emperor who is plotting against the earth this time is nothing more than a chicken and a dog in front of her. He can be destroyed with just a raise of his hand. While Wang Yangming was talking, he looked at Su Yang and asked with a smile, Brother Su, having said this, you must have made some guesses about the identities of your siblings, right? Once upon a time it was glorious. The name resounds throughout Kangyu. Li Feiquan. Su Yang was silent, his expression a little complicated, and he naturally had a guess in his heart. Half a year ago, after Su Yang was reborn, the first time he saw Li Feiquan, he thought of the woman he had been chasing after in his previous life, Empress Jinghuang. Because Li Feiquan's appearance is so similar to that of Empress Jinghuang, they are almost carved from the same template, they are the same. But the gap between Li Feiquan and Empress Jinghuang is also worlds apart. The Jinghuang Empress, the proud daughter of heaven, is the best in the world. She has been aloof all her life and is almost invincible. But Li Feiquan is an ordinary girl who is well educated, elegant, and somewhat cute. I can't say who is better or worse in terms of temperament between the two of them, but they are completely different and each has his own merits. At that time, Su Yang carefully inspected Li Feiquan and found nothing unusual. Therefore, he concluded that Li Feiquan and Empress Jinghuang had nothing to do with each other. They looked the same and it was just a coincidence, so he didn't think much about it. Previously, in the palace city, Su Yang met Emperor Hongfu Wu. During the conversation, he unexpectedly learned from Emperor Hongfu that Empress Jing Huang had also come to Earth. However, Su Yang still did not associate Jing Huang Empress with his wife Li Feixuan. Now after hearing Wang Yangming's words, Su Yang had a bold guess in his heart. Li Feixuan, could she be the Jing Huang Empress? Good. Wang Yangming seemed to have read through Su Yang's thoughts and said, "Brother Su, you guessed it right. My younger brother and sister, Li Feixuan, is Empress Jing Huang. Hundreds of years ago, there was no news of her outside the territory. She came to Earth, hoping to find an opportunity to break through to the imperial realm," Wang Yangming said. "Concubine Xian is the Jing Huang Empress." Su Yang frowned and said doubtfully, "But I have carefully observed that there is no energy fluctuation in Feixuan's body, and there is no abnormality in her soul. She is just an ordinary earthling. How can you be sure that she is the Jing Huang Empress?" Deducing the secret. Wang Yangming said seriously, "I once wanted to deduce the secrets of heaven and calculate the future of the earth at the cost of 100 years of life. But I was too naive after all. Even my 100 years of life cannot withstand the power of divine punishment." Wang Yangming continued, "That time, although I saw the future and knew some truths, I almost died tragically." "Don't say it." But Su Yang refused to give up, practiced hard, and never coveted the personal relationship between his children. Even if he became the immortal emperor, there was no woman around him who belonged to him. At that time, Su Yang was just a young monk with no family or section. He was being persecuted and was about to be wiped out. From then on, the purpose of his training was to catch up with the Jing Huang Empress. Su Yang will never allow this to happen. The person he loves is Li Feixuan, not the Jing Huang Empress. Su Yang became stronger and entered the ranks of the top experts. Only then did he realize that the light in his heart was the powerful Azure Phoenix Empress. Later, if it hadn't been for the power of Taoist faith in the world to resist my injuries, I would have died. After this period of getting along, Su Yang was sure that he liked Li Feixuan. Su Yang always joked that when he saw Jing Huang, he would miss Jing Huang for the rest of his life. But Li Feixuan was different. Su Yang could see that Wang Yangming was not lying, so he asked, "What did you see after paying such a high price?" Wang Yangming met Su Yang's gaze and said seriously, "If I say it, there will be thunder from the sky that will smash me to pieces immediately. Even you who heard the secret from the sky may not be able to withstand the wrath of the sky." Wang Yangming, did the Jing Huang Empress come to Earth in the state of her soul and occupy Fei Xian's body? If this is the case, the soul of Empress Jing Huang is hidden in Li Feixuan's body. Sooner or later, the soul of the Empress will awaken. By then, Li Feixuan will no longer be Li Feixuan, but Empress Jing Huang. It's a pity that the Jing Huang Empress is unparalleled in elegance. Although the gap between the two is narrowing, it still exists, so that there is no chance of meeting again. After rescuing Su Yang, Empress Jing Huang left a pill and disappeared. Su Yang nodded and chose to believe Wang Yangming. His emotions were a little complicated and he couldn't tell what he felt. Strictly speaking, his feelings for Empress Jing Huang are not love, but just admiration and gratitude. These two emotions merged together, making Su Yang never forget Empress Jing Huang. Su Yang asked hurriedly. Wang Yangming continued, "Well, it is precisely because of this that for hundreds of years, Taoism has declined. The world respects Buddhism and Taoism is not taken seriously." Now that he knew that Li Feixuan was the Jing Huang Empress, Su Yang didn't know whether he should be happy or unhappy. There was even a hint of worry in his heart. In his last life, he targeted the Jing Huang Empress and spent his whole life pursuing her footsteps. As for the real Li Feixuan, she disappeared from then on, which is equivalent to death. At the critical moment, the Jing Huang Empress happened to pass by and took action to resolve the crisis for Su Yang. From then on, Su Yang never saw the Jing Huang Empress again. But I can tell you that Li Feixuan is the Jing Huang Empress, there is no doubt about it. What he loves is Li Feixuan as a person, not Li Feixuan's appearance. However, he only met the Qing Huang Empress once, and it was that time that the Qing Huang Empress was like a ray of light, illuminating Su Yang's path forward. Elixir, take it. To be realistic, Su Yang is just a low-level ant and can only look up to the Qing Huang Empress. At that time, the Qing Huang Empress was already a powerful person in the world and had few opponents. Su Yang's liking for Li Feixuan has nothing to do with Empress King Huang's appearance. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Urban Super Dude. Author, Eagle in the Desert. Chapter 829. No. Simply, Wang Yangming shook his head, and then said, it's not soul penetration. The Qing Huang Empress is like you, entering reincarnation and reincarnating. Li Feixuan is the Qing Huang Empress, and the Qing Huang Empress is Li Feixuan. Wang Yangming continued, Brother Su, I know what you are worried about. In fact, if you want to be more open-minded, how do you know that the character of Empress Qing Huang is different from Li Feixuan? Everyone knows the Empress reputation, but there is a world of difference between her and concubine Xian. Su Yang said lightly. That's just in front of outsiders. Have you ever thought that maybe the other side of Empress Qing Huang in private is like her younger brother and sister Li Feixuan? Wang Yangming smiled softly and said, Brother Su, overall, you have made a lot of money and got a big bargain. This is not what you planned. Hearing what Wang Yangming said, Su Yang felt a little better, but then he asked, my plan? What do you mean? Tonight is an important moment for the spiritual energy to revive. Since you are here, you should tell me something, all right. From the previous clues, Su Yang could probably guess that he suddenly came to the earth more than 100 years ago and was reincarnated, so he must have made a lot of arrangements. However, after he was reborn, he forgot those things. This Wang Yangming may be the person with whom he discussed the common layout. Nature. Wang Yangming nodded and said, the reason why I came to you is to tell you the truth. This matter is complicated, and the timeline is a bit confusing. I'll start from the beginning. Just listen carefully. Wang Yangming no longer pretended to be a hypocrite, and spoke eloquently. About 2000 years ago, during the pre-Qin period, you were born into a powerful family and had an ill-fated fate. Eventually, you grew up to become an emperor, sweeping the world, unifying the 9 states, and ending the era of war, etc. Hearing this, Su Yang vaguely felt something was wrong, and asked tentatively, this person you are talking about is the first Emperor Yingzheng, right? What does it have to do with me? Because, you, are Zilong. Wang Yangming said seriously, Brother Su, you are the immortal Qin Shi Huang, the ancestral dragon. What? After receiving Wang Yangming's reply, Su Yang was stunned for a moment, with strong shock in his eyes and feeling incredible. Zilong. I am actually Zilong. It shouldn't be, I have no memory of this at all. Brother Su, please listen to me slowly. Wang Yangming continued, back then, after Zilong unified the world, he felt that the earth was locked by an extremely powerful gaze. With his cultivation, he could not see the depth of that person, but Zilong could be sure that he was not that person. Human opponents are even far inferior to each other. Also, you understand the secret of the 9 nether hell. As long as you choose to self-destruct, you will escape from the 9 nether hell, and you will not really die, and your body will not be broken into pieces. The way to break the 9 nether hell is to burn both jade and stone. Once you crack the 9 nether hell, there will be mysterious power that can repair everything about you. The earth at that time was in dire straits. Although the Yanlong immortal emperor was beaten back to the outside world by Su Mo, he never forgot about the earth. Wang Yangming said with great admiration, however, on the earth at that time, in addition to Zilong, the quasi-emperor, there were hundreds of quasi-emperors. There were dozens of quasi-emperors under the sect of Suanwei Genren Guzhi alone. Wang Yangming continued, moreover, while you are still in the Nine Nether Hell, you have the opportunity to set foot on the imperial realm. Wang Yangming looked at Su Yang and said seriously, Brother Su, I met you more than 100 years ago and you told me many things. Zilong himself is a person with great luck. With the luck of Kyushu, he is extremely talented. He is the best among people everywhere, and he eventually became the Xiantian Immortal Emperor. Yes. Because at that time, there was no ancient road in the starry sky on the earth. Zilong forcibly tore through the void and had to avoid the mastermind behind the scenes, so he took a very dangerous path. Although he successfully landed outside the territory, he was severely injured and lost part of his memory, and even all his strength is gone. Wang Yangming smiled softly, and then explained, it's like this. The ancestral dragon tore through the void, traveled through the long river of history, and accidentally returned to the Xiantian immortal territory 100,000 years ago. At that time, the Xiantian immortal territory was not called this name yet. It was just changed later because of immortal Emperor Xiantian. He knows that continuing to stay on Earth will not help. The person behind the scenes must have transcended the imperial realm. Wang Yangming said, that's it, the second generation of Zilong makes his debut. Wang Yangming sighed, and then said, Zilong shoulders the hope of the entire earth. He is the backbone of the earth. You know, the real opponent of the earth has never been the Yanlong Immortal Emperor, but the strong man who has surpassed the imperial realm. In addition, you have to do something very important and need to be immersed in it for hundreds of years, so you found Yanlong the Immortal Emperor has made a bet with the Yanlong Immortal Emperor. Well, it's pretty much what I guessed. After all, Zilong is the only emperor in the earth, and he has absorbed the luck of Kyushu. After him, no one can break the bottleneck of the quasi-emperor and set foot in the emperor. This is the pressure of the emperor, and the quasi-emperor cannot advance to the true level. The imperial realm. Su Yang was confused and asked, I have been practicing under the Xiantian Immortal Emperor for 100,000 years, and the ancestral dragon has only left the earth for more than 2,000 years. This time is wrong. There is such a big difference, how can I be Zilong? You mean, Zilong has returned to the past? Su Yang asked as if seeking confirmation. Brother Su, your last life was the Xiantian Immortal Emperor. At your peak, your strength actually surpassed that of the ancestral dragon. Zilong has made a judgment that even with all the power in the world, it cannot cause harm to people outside the nine heavens. Wang Yangming nodded and said, this can be regarded as a coincidence. An accident caused the second generation of Zilong to have great strength. There are countless people who have overcome tribulations and transformed into gods, but all of them together cannot cause the slightest harm to the mastermind behind the scenes. You only know that you are from the earth, but you forget your experience on the earth. Wang Yangming continued, you must know that Zilong was already a strong emperor in the imperial realm at that time, and he was not an ordinary emperor. Even the Yanlong Immortal Emperor was not as good as him. Remember? Su Yang said truthfully, my memory stays in the Nine Nether Hell. I only remember that I blew myself up and destroyed the Nine Nether Hell. Then when I became conscious again, I was already Su Yang. Wang Yangming continued, Brother Su, your memory should start from that time. Wang Yangming looked at Su Yang and continued, as for the key person in this bet, you must have heard of it countless times. Yes, it is your great-grandfather, Su Wuzi. This isn't right. So, Zilong pretended to die of illness, tore the void and left the earth, and went to the Xiantian immortal realm. Back then, in the depths of the Nine Nether Hell, you had already awakened the memory of the first ancestral dragon. You know that you are the first emperor Zilong, you know the purpose of going to the outside world, and you know everything. Wang Yangming continued, that was the first time you returned to Earth after cultivating for 100,000 years. So, you left the 9 nether hells by self-destruction, and your body was repaired, and you even tore through the void and descended to the Earth. I said it at the beginning, time is chaotic, please listen to me explain in detail. Wang Yangming continued, however, this is not enough. As long as you have not set foot on the imperial realm, you cannot compete with the people behind the scenes. You should still remember that you entered the 9 nether hell, right? Urban Super Dude. Author, Eagle in the Desert. Chapter 830. Back then, Immortal Emperor Xiantian chose Suwuji among tens of millions of people. Wang Yangming continued, the bet between Emperor Xiantian and Emperor Yanlong is also very simple. It is to see if Suwuji can rely on his own strength and ignore the ominous circumstances to advance to the nascent soul on earth. The ominous fate of the earth was placed on the earth by the Yanlong Immortal Emperor and the other 2 Immortal Emperors. Wang Yangming said with deep taboo, this ominous thing is not a simple thing. Only the Yanlong Immortal Emperor and the 3 of them are unable to cause such terrifying power of law to appear on the earth. Wang Yangming continued, Immortal Emperor Xiantian told me at the beginning that Immortal Emperor Yanlong once visited a Jedi place in the sky universe and collected a top treasure containing the power of the law of the sky. Once that thing is turned on, it can cover a star field and fill the star field with the power of law. Wang Yangming looked at Su Yang and said calmly, the power of this law is ominous. The thing belongs to Immortal Emperor Yanlong, but he couldn't open it himself, so he invited the other 2 Immortal Emperors to help. Immortal Emperor Xiantian discovered the truth after probing for a long time, but he couldn't decipher it. He could only make a bet, hoping that Emperor Yanlong would take back the ominous law on his own. So, there was your great-grandfather's bet. Unfortunately, your great-grandfather failed in the end. Wang Yangming sighed and said, it's not your great-grandfather's fault. After all, ominousness is almost equal to God's will. How can he compete with God's will? The content of the original bet was that if Immortal Emperor Yanlong loses, he will take it back. But if Immortal Emperor Xiantian loses, he can no longer interfere in the affairs of the earth. Wang Yangming continued, you also know the result. Immortal Emperor Xiantian lost. If he is willing to admit defeat, he will no longer be able to help the earth. I originally thought that he would leave the earth and go outside the territory, but I never expected that Immortal Emperor Xiantian would give up everything and live out his 3rd life through reincarnation. Wang Yangming looked at Su Yang and said with a smile, Brother Su, do you understand now? You are the first Emperor Zilong and the Xiantian Immortal Emperor. At the same time, you are also yourself, Su Yang. Su Yang knew that he was the Xiantian Immortal Emperor in his previous life, but he didn't remember that he was the ancestral dragon at all. All the memories about Zilong disappeared. But when he faced Jing Kai at the foot of Jufeng Mountain, Jing Kai once said that he looked exactly like Zilong. Later, I met Bai Qi, who also said similar things. He must really look like Zilong. In addition, the stories Wang Yangming told could be connected completely and were reasonable, so there was no need for him to lie to himself. Therefore, Su Yang believed Wang Yangming's words. Zilong, I didn't expect that I was actually Zilong. Su Yang showed a wry smile, it's no wonder. When I came to the Xiantian immortal realm 100,000 years ago, I only remembered that I was an earthling, but I couldn't remember my experience on the earth. It turns out that I am an ancestral dragon. Thinking of this, Su Yang felt a little proud. After all, Zilong was a great figure. Brother Su, you are not only the Zilong, but you also have an identity at this moment, Wang Yangming suddenly said seriously. Su Yang was shocked and asked hurriedly, what do you mean, do I still have a 4th life? That's not true. Wang Yangming shook his head, then smiled softly and said, you are still my idol, I admire you so much, my idol, isn't this identity stronger than your 3 identities? Su Yang's face suddenly darkened, and he glanced at Wang Yangming fiercely. If he hadn't considered that he might not be able to defeat him, he would really have been unable to help but teach Wang Yangming how to be a useful person to society. Stop talking nonsense. At this time, Su Yang looked at Wang Yangming and asked, "Do you have anything else to say to me? Or do you know any other secret information? Please tell me one by one. That can't be finished in 10 or 8 years. I, Wang Yangming, have left out everything and know everything about the world." Wang Yangming boasted about himself, and then said, "Ask me, I will answer all your questions." Su Yang nodded. He did have a lot of doubts in his heart. After thinking for a moment, he asked, "First question, do you know what the specific plans of Yanlong Immortal Emperor and the other two Immortal Emperors are? I vaguely heard something. He seems to be using the Earth as an experimental site. What is he studying? What is his purpose? It's natural to break through to the Imperial realm." Wang Yangming said truthfully, "This is what you told me in your previous life, the Immortal Emperor Xiantian. It is so secret that I cannot calculate it with my ability. On Earth, there have been powerful people above the Imperial realm, and there was more than one person. Calculating the time, it took thousands of years." Wang Yangming continued, "But for hundreds of thousands of years, there is no one outside the realm who has reached the emperor level. If someone really sets foot on the imperial realm, he will be invincible in the sky and the universe." Wang Yangming continued, "Immortal Emperor Yanlong is on Earth. Through some clues, he learned that there are powerful people above the emperor realm who have appeared on Earth. However, those invincible powerful people are no longer on Earth. There is no news about them on Earth." This made the Flame Dragon Immortal Emperor change his mind, and he began to think about the Earth, observing the Earth closely, trying to find a way to advance to a higher realm. Wang Yangming continued, "But slowly, he realized that the cultivators on Earth are progressing very quickly, especially Gigutsi and his disciples. They are progressing too fast. In time, they can step into the true imperial realm." So, the Flame Dragon Immortal Emperor released an ominous message and began to suppress the Earth. He even expelled the Earth's strong men one by one, asking them to leave the Earth so as not to affect his control of the planet. Wang Yangming smiled and said, "You will probably know everything next time. To be honest, Yanlong Immortal Emperor is just lucky. If he had come a while earlier, before the ancestral dragon broke the void and left the Earth, he could have easily made Yanlong Immortal Emperor unable to come back," Wang Yangming added. Su Yang nodded lightly, and then said, "In your opinion, who are the invincible and powerful people who have surpassed the imperial realm? Are they famous? Big?" Wang Yangming nodded, and then said, "The Earth has produced more than one invincible strong man, let me just name one for you. Suan Wei Genren Gigutsi, the master of hundreds of schools, is already at the peak of quasi-emperors, and his strength is powerful. His disciples are even more exaggerated, with dozens of quasi-emperors under his disciples." Wang Yangming smiled softly and said, "For such an awesome person, have you ever thought about who his master is and how powerful he is?" "Master?" Su Yang paused and then said, "Who is his master?" "It's me," Wang Yangming replied.